Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Pipebomb Radio. My goodness, it feels like it comes on once a month now these days, doesn't it, Austin?
Once a month? I think it goes by too quick. It's like Tuesday.
There's not enough time. I don't know. It just seems like it was like a month ago since it. Well, I guess technically, it was.
I don't know.
We
it's
just
like
started February.
Tuesday all of a sudden. Always Tuesday. God. Tuesday.
But tonight's guest is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I actually look forward to it, and I've been a big fan of his for quite some time. And find out what he's up to today. You know, it's actually former WWE Superstar Kenny from the Spirit Squad, or Kenny Dykstra in his singles career. His name is Kenn Doane. He actually is going to be joining us here. In fact, he should be. Actually, he's on hold right now.
You know,
without any further ado, did you want to say something, Austin? Go ahead.
I was going to say the hours of entertainment that the Spirit Squad and DX, had, and just everything that they did was phenomenal. I mean, some of the best entertainment moments you can ever find.
I definitely had a great time watching that, and we'll get to talk about a little bit of all that and what he's up to today. A lot of surprises, maybe some changes. We'll find out right now. Here we go. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thank you for. I appreciate you having me. So thank you very much.
Not a problem. We're happy that you're able to join us tonight, and just to kind of let us know how you've been doing and what it was like during your during the time that you were in, of course, WWE, and what you're up to today. I did see that you actually, if you don't mind, I actually wanted to start off asking you what kind of inspired you to do the book that you did.
Well, you see, when I used to live in Virginia, this was actually when I was hurt because I had torn my PCL in my knee, and so I was off the road for a little bit with WWE, and I had seen a case in Virginia where a teenage girl had committed suicide because of bullying. And I remember thinking, like, man, that is so horrible. Like, when you're traveling the road full time, you don't get to catch up with news stories, and you don't get to you're oblivious to the outside world at times because there's so much going on. There's so much expected out of you, so you never really have the chance to look at the outside world and look at certain things. The perfect example, when we caught Saddam, when America caught Saddam, we were traveling nonstop. So about 4 days after we got on the plane, we saw the USA Today paper, and it said, Saddam caught and killed, and all this had already happening. And everybody was like, oh, my God, they caught him? And but we had no idea because we were oblivious to everything. We were just traveling. But anyway, back to the story. So I saw that a girl had committed suicide, and I thought, man, that's horrible. So I did, some research, and I found that at the time, not every state in America had to teach about bullying, but they did have to teach about reading. They did have to read to the kids. So that was kind of my way of introducing bullying to the kids through reading a children's book. So you start young, and then, those things stick with the kids. They learn. It's fresh.
They definitely take it with them, and it's to see somebody they see on TV come in and talk to them. I know that definitely brights up their day, and even just for the matter that somebody other than their teachers reading to them, I'm sure it definitely brightens up their day.
Oh yeah, they love it, and me, I'm 6'3", 230 pounds, so I'm bigger than their teachers, and to them they love it. They're kids, so when you're a kid, everybody's huge and everything's much bigger than it really is. So to them, I might be 7 feet. Who knows?
So do any of the kids know what you've done in the past with DX?
Yeah, there's I took grades K through 12, and a lot of the middle school and the high school kids they remember it, and a lot of the small kids they don't necessarily know because they've seen me on TV, but their parents know, and I'll get notes from their parents like, oh hey, I'm a huge fan, and just different stuff. So that's always entertaining. So I'm sure they have seen something on YouTube, they've seen something online from their parents to validate the fact that I am a professional wrestler.
Yeah, you actually still do travel on the independent circuits, and I came across a poster. You actually are going to be doing a show in March, I think up in the Jersey area, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I am. It's I believe it's in New York, Queens, maybe. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think I'm wrestling Jerry the King Lawler, so
Oh, nice.
I got some things in store for the King.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, coming in, when you're into the WWE, you guys were, you got put into this little scenario with being the male cheerleaders. Did that prove to be somewhat of a difficult task? I mean, how did you guys come across? I mean, was it something that you guys were kind of like scratching your head, like, okay, what are we going to do with this? And you guys made something up, and don't get me wrong, you guys are really good at what you did.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, like, it's OVW and developmental. They give you these different things that they want you to try. They'll send it down from the office, and then Jimmy Cornette or Paul Heyman, the writer of the show, whoever it be at that time, will say, try this gimmick or try this gimmick, do this. And they'll never say, hey, the WWE wants you to try this. They want to see how you can do this. In the end of the day, they is Vince McMahon, I'm pretty sure. But they is just a term that they use. So there was he had Dolph Ziggler at the time that's doing like the caddy gimmick, and he had Mondo being the giant killer. So none of these things ever matched up. But then one day they called us up to see Cincinnati, and we sat in Vince's office, and he was like, I want male cheerleaders. And then that was pretty much it. And he walked out of the room and left us in his office. I remember just sitting there, like, looking at, we all looked at each other like, I think someone's messing with us. Like, why would they want that? Like, I was like, doesn't make any sense. So then, like, we came in and said, hey, we got you. So we were like, just don't sell it. Nobody, just pretend like nothing happened. So everyone's like, hey, what's going on? So then, eventually a week later, they called us and was like, do you have the outfit yet? And we're like, no, we thought you guys were joking. Like, no, we're not joking. Get matching outfits. And we're like, oh, my God, okay. So we went to Dick's Sporting Goods and found green jumpsuits. They're actually basketball jumpsuits that we just kind of, like, highlighted in green over the Adidas sign. And, like, on singlets.com, you can make your own split based off of colors. So we did green and white, and that's just kind of how the colors came about. And then, yeah, so it was hard because it's like everybody wants to be, like, the badass character, like the Stone Cold or the Rock. You know, everybody wants to be that. But, I mean, eventually when it's like, okay, you're going to come out, you're going to jump around, you're going to act silly. But at the same point, it's like not everybody can be the badass character. People have to, there's such a broad spectrum, so much different stuff. And it's all based off of what they choose. If they choose you to be a person, then it's you. If they don't, well, then you got to take what you can and you got to make the most out of it and the most money you can while you can.
So you were saying that you actually went out to the sporting goods and got your suits. I never knew that. I thought always WWE kind of like gave you what I thought in my mindset is that they set you up with what they wanted you to wear. But so you guys actually have to go out and find what you thought would look good with the gym gimmick.
Yes, that is the Dick's Sporting Goods special. That's a Dick's Sporting Goods clearance sale because I got 5 of them. I bought it and I put on the outfit. And I went over and I grabbed an Under Armour shirt and I just put it on and I was like, hey, take a picture of me. So I working at the store took a picture and I sent it to the other 4. And I was like, how does this work? I said, I found 5 of these matching. And everybody was like, okay, let's get them, we'll pay it back. But yeah, you know what? I always thought that too as a kid. I was like, you know what? This was going to design me an outfit. He's going to come up with this great idea for me to wear something. It never happened. He said, find 5 matching outfits and you're cheerleaders. And I was like, man, when I watched Beyond the Mat, they were creating an outfit for, Darren Johns off. I got nothing. But it is what it is. So, yeah, that kind of let me down a little bit because I was like, man, this is a cool guy. He's going to make me an outfit. Nothing. No making. He just looked at it and was like, okay, cool.
Getting in there and actually getting this. I'm sorry, you go ahead. You were saying?
Yes, Nick Mitchell, our manager, the one with the megaphone. The Spear Squad almost didn't happen because they wanted to try it out. So they put me and him on the road. I would wrestle, he would manage. So the very first night the Spear Squad ever took place was with house show. And I want to say it was in Daytona, Florida. And then, so he had this brilliant idea. He was like, I'll come out, I'll do a leapfrog in the hideaway. You go under me. And then we'll keep going to the ring. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not worried about the entrance. I'm worried about my natural Chavo Guerrero because he's a legend, and I don't want to mess it up. So I left the entrance on him. You do that, I'll worry about the match part. Let's just not get fired. So we come out. He does the leapfrog. I under him. And then something hits me right in the back of the head. Boom. And I'm like, what's happened? So I turn around, and he's laying on the ground. He's like, I tore my ACL. What? And I'm like, how did you tear your ACL? And this is all in front of the crowd, and everyone's laughing, and it was horrible. So then John Laurinaitis at the time was in charge, and he was like, I don't think we're going to do the squad anymore. He's like, Nick Mitchell's hurt. He's going to get his ACL repaired. He's going to be out for a few months. So we were like, he can manage us. He doesn't have to wrestle. There'll be 4 of us that wrestle. He'll always be the manager. So then eventually they agreed to it, and they were like, okay, let's see how this works. So there was a slight chance that there was no spirit squad.
So, I mean, and with groups like that, if you're a group, I would think that if one member gets, and well, with this group, they had a bunch of members, so, you know, like 4 members, and I guess it's like with, say with the Bella Twins somewhat, if one was out the other, it kind of looks, I don't know, it doesn't look right. So with a Spirit Squad, if one member was out with an injury, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not good, but we're interchangeable. The Spirit Squad is interchangeable. It's like the Fabulous Freebird. The Freebird.
Definitely.
Yeah, there you go. You guys definitely took something that you guys weren't sure of and made something really good out of it, and it still gets talked about. I believe. I mean, from what I've seen and what I've, when I go on through the internet, it still gets talked about. And in regards to, of course, yourself and of course Dolph and Mondo. Mike. I don't know if you guys call him Mikey or Mondo or however you guys refer to him, but
yeah, Mondo.
When you actually were able to move on into a singles career, you actually got to work with, with Ric Flair. It looked like that feud was going to be something pretty huge. And I mean, what was it like working with Nature Boy?
It was awesome. It was great. It was a little intimidating at first because, when I trained originally, I was trained by Killer Kowalski, so he would always have the mentality of, don't talk about your match before the match. Talk about your match during the match. Just go out and do it,
Mm-hmm.
But, growing up as a kid and stuff, I started training at 13. So I trained from 13 to 18 with Kowalski. And, you don't want to mess up. So you kind of call stuff beforehand, and everybody does it. And then you get on the indies, and then you work with other guys who train from different people, so they do it. And then once you're on WWE, you're on TV, so you have to have stuff planned. It's like a dance. You have to walk through everything. But working with Flair, I would never see him. I would be there. I'd get to the arena at 1 like we were supposed to. Excuse me. And then I wouldn't see him. I wouldn't see him in catering. I would never know where he was. So I had no idea what I was doing. And then the agent would be like, usually be Steamboat, and he'd come over and say, okay, you guys, you got 10, 12 minutes tonight. Ric Flair over, or you over. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, where's Rick? I don't know. Well, I don't know where he is either. Okay. I don't know what to do then. So then I would never see Rick, so then I'd be all set up, and I'm standing in a gorilla position. And then they would play my music, and then right as they played my music, Rick would start coming up to the gorilla position with his robe, and he'd be like, hey, figure 4 for the finish. And I'm like, okay, cool. Or he'd be like, when I have a figure 4, just roll out and play the finish. And I'm like, okay. And that's the only time I see him during the day. That and then during the match.
So that didn't like, if it was me, I would probably get really nerve-wracked. Well, of course you're a professional, but I'm saying that you didn't get like nervous when he did that to you?
The first time I did, and the first time Mike Chioda was the referee, and he was like, what's the finish? And I was like, I think he said figure 4. And he's like, what do you mean you think he said? He's like, we're on Raw. And I was like, I don't know what the finish is. I was like, I didn't see him all day. I said, I don't know what it is.
Sometimes you don't know what he says.
I was like, he's going to change it anyways when we get out of here. So then, when Rick came out, I was like, that was the only time I ever, forgot that I was in a match, because I, kind of started clapping for him. And Chioda hit me, and he's like, hey, you're wrestling. And I was like, oh, yeah, my bad. I said, I was cheering for him. So then Rick was beating me up, and he gave me a fat lip in the first match. And, I was always afraid to hurt him. He's an older guy. Yes, he's tough, but, he's an older guy. You look at him and you go, he's an older guy. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to lose my job. So he gave me a fat lip, and then the next night, I wrestled him again, and I was like, forget this crap. I'm going to beat the crap out of this guy. He gave me a fat lip. So after that, it was on. I didn't even clap for him. I don't care what he's ever to finish. We're fighting. But he brought out the best. He brings out the best in people because he makes you think on the fly. He doesn't let you memorize what you're supposed to do. He's like the old school where he makes you work and he makes you better at your craft. And
I was actually wondering too, during the time that you were in your singles, I mean, they referred to you as Kenny Dykstra. Is that something that you came up with, or is it something they kind of threw at you to kind of work with, or how did the name come about?
Well, they said come up with the last name, and I said, how about Doane? And they said, well, because that's my real name. And Jack Doane, the referee, They didn't want there to be like no confusion of relative or anything like that. So then Brian Gerwitz, the head writer of Raw, he's a Mets fan, so he came up with Dykstra. So then Kenny, and then they both started with a D. I don't think it was a very thought out thing. It was just like, let's use Dykstra. But I also pitched the name McMahon, but that got turned down.
McMahon.
I was like, if I can't use Doane, can I use McMahon? And they were like, no.
I mean, if Hornswoggle can use it, why couldn't you, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what sparked that whole angle. I don't know.
Hey, you never know. You're right. That's right.
You know,
although I did pitch many angles in the past that have been used, I will say that I pitched. What was it? Me and Bobby, when I wrestled Bobby last year on Raw, we had a great match and we got a standing ovation in Gorilla. So I went to Vince after the show and I said, no one's ever going to believe that, I can beat Bobby unless I do something really bad or, we build him enough where they think that it could happen. And he's like, what do you think? And I was like, how would I go to ECW and I steal the heavyweight title? I said, and then it's just a constant chase until the pay-per-view. I said, they'll come to Raw. We'll do so many different things. I pitched so many different vignettes and stuff. And he was like, that's great. I'm going to use it. And I said, cool. So then when I left, I was like, this is great. I think I'm going to do something with Bobby. And then, 2 weeks later, the Great Khali came out and stole John Cena's title. And I was like, oh, damn.
Wow.
Going away from wrestling real quick, a few years ago, I came across you were a part of a reality show to work with Cindy Margolis. What was it like working with her?
She was awesome, man. She was great. Sometimes you hear these horror stories about beautiful female celebrities and how they're so divas and all that, but she was so laid back. We went to Burger King and we had a Whopper and it was cool. She was just chill. Certain things that, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all the same people. It's just there's a camera on some people, there's a camera not on some people. Some people are in magazines, some people aren't. I mean, the kid that's working at the fast food restaurant down the street, his dollar is only going to get him as far as, The Rock's dollar. Obviously The Rock has more dollars, but at the end of the day, a dollar's a dollar. We're all the same people.
I was pulling for you to win that show, to be honest. I was watching, I was like, you were coming down to it and look at you were going to win it, and I was like, they should have gave it to you, man. You were definitely the top runner. But
did you see the whole show?
You know what? I got into it towards the middle when they had already started, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I know that guy. Oh, cool. I'll check it out, and it was pretty fun to watch. Pretty funny, that they put you guys in these little different scenarios to try to, the competitions, I guess you could say. But I did see that the other guy, it was down to, I think it was either the top three. You were in the top three, I think, or top two. Yeah,
it was the top three, but everybody in the house too was like, dude, you're gonna win. And in my mind, I was like, if I win, it's a show. So are we really gonna form this relationship? I'm from Boston, she's from Hollywood. It'd be awkward. But so my idea was, if I win, I was gonna say, I might be the one for you, and that's great, but it takes two, and unfortunately, you're not the one for me. I was going to dump her at the finale, just because I don't know that has ever been done. So I'm trying to throw a curveball.
Amen.
So then I was like, maybe, if I dump her, maybe I'll get my own spin-off or something. Who knows?
I love how you're thinking like that. You're like, we were thinking that 2 weeks beforehand, or if you were going to move on, you were thinking about doing that.
Oh, what's crazy is with reality shows, I studied. What I did was, when I got chosen for this, I studied reality shows, and I'm a crazy good person, so I try to study. I look at things different than normal, so I studied reality shows, and I've kept all these people on. Something has to keep you on that reality show that the producers are going to keep you on for. So if you watch the show, I would constantly prank, and before every prank, I would tell the camera. This is in the confession booth area. I'd tell them, this is my plan, this is what's going to happen, and then I would go through with it. And then before it happened, or right before the finalization of my first plan happened, I would then throw out seeds about my second plan. So I knew the producers would never kick me off, because I always had a plan. I always had something that was coming up. So I kind of built my own schedule on the show. And then, right when it came down to it, I was like, man, how can I end this? It's got to end really good. Now people are knowing that I'm kind of a prankster and I'm a good guy, but I'm still a funny guy. So I was just kind of building my own character. I'm just getting over,
Yeah, no, I understand that. And, being that you still work in the independent circuit, I mean, has maybe returning to TV for like TNA or even Ring of Honor or any other independents that have actual television shows intrigue you about maybe coming back into the television for wrestling, of course?
I did some dark matches with TNA. Here's what's really weird about TNA. They are great people. Like Dixie Carter and all that. They're great. But I did a dark match. They flew me in. They gave me a hotel room. They paid me. They did the whole deal. So then they offered me to come back down like next month. So I was, okay, I'll come down. And then a week before they called me, like, you got to work for free. You got to fly yourself down here, and you got to get your own room.
Wow.
What?
So then I nicely wrote her back, and it was just a very professional letter. Just, at this point in my career, that's not something that I'm going to do. If I get injured, it's not going to be great for me. You guys know nothing comes out of your pocket. I get that. That's how you want to run your business. I understand this is business. It's just not the way that I'm going to do business. So I have to decline the offer. So then, weirdly enough, a week later from that email, they offered me a contract.
Whoa.
That's it. So I went from bring me down for a tryout, that's great. Call me in for another tryout, cancel the tryout. Nope, you got to do it all yourself, fly down here. I'm not going to do that. A week after that, I won't offer you a contract. So they offer me the contract, X amount of dollars. Then I go online, and I'm like, I print out, I screenshot everything. This is what it would cost me to rent a car for these many days. This is what it would cost me to rent a hotel these many days. This is approximately, according to Wolfram Alpha, which, I can track GDP of Orlando, Florida. I can track all these things. This is about average of bill price. Now I got to buy 3 of these a day. So what you're paying me, this X amount of dollars, minus all this money that I have to put out, rent a car, for hotel, for meals, not even counting gym, tanning, stuff like that I would actually probably need. My take home would be about $175 a week. I was like, I can't really live off $175 a week. Then they were like, well, you get TV exposure. I said, I would rather be off TV and be able to live. So
you had plenty of TV exposure being in the WWE. People still recognize you to this day, and you're still out there, and you control what shows you want to go to. And I'm just saying. Damn, that's bad. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So when I put it like that, they were kind of like, no one's ever put it like that. And I said, well, I'm just saying I can't live off about $175 a week. It's just impossible. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to, and you guys are going to control my indie booking too. You're going to have a say in that. So this isn't what I'm going to do. So then I ended up turning that down. But a lot of TNA stars, if you look at them, they have second jobs. They have jobs. Yeah,
they do.
I don't know. Did they ever see what you've done in WWE? You wrestled, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. So many other guys. That's like how? It just mind boggles me. Like how would they think they can get away with that?
Facing Jerry Lawler too. So
I don't understand things.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's such a strange atmosphere. There's even been times I haven't been there personally, but what I've heard was that Bret Hart, when he went to SCW, he told some of the guys to study my film, how I do some little things and stuff. So when I heard about that, I was like, wow, that's a huge compliment that Bret telling people about my film. I was like, I don't know, I just do little things that I'm taught through Kowalski, Manstorm, Al Snow, guys like that, But that was actually a big thing too when people told me that Bret said that. So, TNA doesn't look at those things, I guess. I don't know. Each business is run differently, and the ratings show who's successful and who's not at the end of the day. But,
going back to you're talking about Killer Kowalski being trained by him. You said you started at age 13.
Yeah, I started really young.
How was that like? 13 years old and with Killer Kowalski, that must have been brutal.
Yeah, he's intimidating, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I was like 12, and my mom, she never had a great job. She would always go from place to place. We'd always move from town to town, but I remember one day she was just fed up with it, and she said, find something that you love to do and get paid to do it. She said, you'll never worry about working like I did. So I remember at the time, I was like, well, I love wrestling. So I looked up, and I found that, WWE's in Stamford, Connecticut. Wow, that's great. So I saved some money, and my brother, I was 12 at the time, so I paid my brother some gas money, and he took me down to Stamford, Connecticut. It was like a Monday or something, because I remember I skipped school. And then I walked in, and, I asked for an application, and they're like, what do you want an application for? I was like, I want to be a wrestler. And the lady at the front just kind of laughed at me. She's like, how old are you? I was like, 12. She's like, 1, you should be in school. 2, that's not how you do it. She's like, you got to leave the building. So I got kicked out of the building at 12. And I was like, wow, that was a waste of gas money. That was a waste of 3 hours down, 3 hours home. And my brother was like, what happened? Where's your application? He was busting on me. Because I guess he knew it was going to happen. At 12, you think you know a lot of things, but you obviously don't. So then I
probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I know. So then I found Kowalski's school from word of mouth through, like, the gyms and all that stuff. He just started asking. And then I went there, and his school's on the 3rd floor. And as I walked into this old brick building, I could hear, like, banging and the shouting. I hear Kowalski yelling, and I'm like, oh, man, this is what I want to do. This is perfect. So I walked up there and I just kind of sat there. And he was like, what do you want, kid? I said, I'm here to turn out to be a wrestler. And he's like, no, come back when you're 18. And I was like, I can't. He's like, well, why not? I said, because when I'm 18, that's when I'm going to work for WWF at the time. Because this was January 2000, December 99. It was right when they were switching their name. So, but I told him, I said, look, you got to train me now. I said, you train me now. I have 5 years experience. When I'm 18, I'm going to work for them. And he just sat there for a minute, and he was like, I guess that kind of makes sense. And he's like, if your mother signs the paper and says she won't sue me, then I'll train you. I said, okay, cool. So I went home with the paper, and my mom signed it. I brought it back, and he would beat the crap out of me every single day that I was there. He wouldn't let me in the ring the first 6 months. He said, go stand over there, learn how to walk up, learn how to chain wrestle, learn the basics before you get in the ring. So for 6 months, every class I was over there just doing the same thing. Then he would come over, he'd tap me on the shoulder. I have to show you something. Okay. And then he would stretch me. He just beat the living crap out of me for the last, 45 minutes of class. And then I was, 7th, 8th grade. I'd go to school like a busted lip with, a swollen eye. He was like, can you stay after class? And I was like, yeah. She's like, everything okay at home? I said, yeah. I swear to God, it's really, I said, everything's fine. I said, I just got this trainer that's roughing me up. She's like, really? I was like, yeah, he's like, me too. She's like, this is really interesting. And then I was like, it's Killer Kowalski, the famous guy. She's like, oh, I remember him. Oh, that's cool. I'm a big fan. So then by that point, it was okay that I got bruises on my face.
I can't even imagine. I mean, going in there, I'm sure you've got some stories that you still think about, probably make you still laugh because you're like, my God, did I really go through all that? Wow.
How insane is the story is that? That's so great that you can just be like, that happened to me. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. He would beat the crap out of me every day. And then after 6 months, he was like, okay, get in the ring. This is they hit the ropes. So then I had to hit the ropes for 2 months straight. I had chain wrestle, and then hit the rope. Chain wrestle, hit the rope. And then it was bumping and fun. It was the most old school training you can get. But it worked, I love it. I'm thankful for it. And then Kowalski would tape everything. The training stuff, he would tape every day. But then, every time I had a match, I would retape. He had 2 VCRs where you could actually put in a blank tape and tape over. It was the old school of duplicating tapes. So I would record my matches. And at 14 years old or whatnot, I would send them to WWE. And I didn't expect anything. So then, one day when I was 16, and I did this for 2 years. So then I was 16, and I came home from school, and my mom was like, you got a call from Stanford. And I was like, what? So, yeah, I'm a junior in high school. So I was like, okay. So I call it, and it's Dr. Tom Richards. Ken, what's up, man? He's like, this Kenn Doane? I said, yeah, that's it. He's like, I got your tape, kid. And I was like, okay. He's like, you've been doing these damn things for years now. I said, yeah, I didn't know that you actually got them. I thought they were going nowhere at this point. He's like, oh, I like your stuff. He's like, you're getting better. He's like, what are you doing next week? And I was like, I don't know, probably going to school. He's like, wait, how old are you? I said, I'm 16. He's like, how are you with math? And I said, I'm pretty good. He's like, add 2 years on your date of birth. You're going to be 18. He's like, I need you in Philadelphia for Raw. He was like, I need you in New Jersey for SmackDown. And I was like, okay, I'll be there.
Oh, my God.
But then I got the phone and I was like, how'd that go? What was it? And I said, I'd be in Philadelphia on Monday. I said, and Tuesday I'd be in New Jersey. I said, I'm probably going to miss Monday, Tuesday at school. She's like, well, you better be there Wednesday. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. said, okay.
Oh my
cool.
God.
So then,
How insane. Oh,
yeah.
That's
and
like...
it gets better. So I get there Monday, and they're like, fill this paperwork out. And I fill it. I add 2 years on my date of birth. They never asked for an ID. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then I'm like, man, I hope I just get the chance to try out or just... But it's for you want to send it used to the environment. Kenn Doane. And I'm like, yep, that's me.
Oh, my God.
So last week I went from coming home from junior in high school. This week I'm now on Monday Night Raw live in front of the nation, getting my butt kicked by Ryan McMahon, the challenge. And then, like, I go Tuesday, and then they're like, you're on Velocity against Ultimo Dragon. And I'm like, okay, cool.
No way.
Every time I went, I would end up on TV. I wrestled Goldust on Sunday Night Heat. I wrestled Lance Storm on Sunday Night Heat. I wrestled, I don't even remember. I wrestled so many of these guys on Raw and Sunday Night Heat. I think I wrestled Steve Richards. I think I wrestled Lance Cade. But every time I went, I would do that. So then Wednesday I got back to school. I got a hotel Monday night, and then Tuesday after the show in Jersey, I drove all the way home, slept for like 2 hours, got up, went to school, and my teacher was like, stay after class. I was like, okay. He's like, where were you the past 2 days? I said, I was sick, man. He's like, no, you weren't. You were on Monday Night Raw. And I was like, I didn't know you watched.
Busted.
Yeah. I didn't know you watched. He's like, I remember hearing that you were doing this stuff, but I didn't think it was this big. And I was like, yeah, it's getting there. I think it's getting there. I don't know. So then the principal called me to the office, and he's like, what's going on, man? I said, here's the thing. I said, everyone knows the big deal on it because all the kids saw me on Monday Night Raw. I said, so everyone now, like, knew. They were like, dude, you were on Raw. It doesn't matter that you get your butt kicked because you were on Raw. And I was like, yeah. I was like, that's the way I was looking at it, too. Like, it doesn't matter that they Friday night keep grabbing me. I'm on Raw. What do you do? And nobody else is on Raw here. So then the principal goes, he's like, I'm a big fan. He's like, I like kids that have a career. He's like, I'll tell you what I'll do. He's like, if you can keep your grades to an A and B, he said, I'll excuse your absence when you go to WWE. He said, because technically it's work. I was like, yeah, technically it is work. He's like, you right? I said, yeah. He's like, okay. Yeah, technically it's work. I'll excuse your absence if you can keep A and B grades. So I was like, okay, cool. So every time I went, it was on either Sunday Night Heat or Velocity. So when I missed it, the teachers were like, what time are we going to watch you? And I was like, Sunday Night MTV. Check it out. I'll be on.
Hey, Felix.
So, like, yeah, my junior and senior year, I was just on TV constantly. It was weird. And then when I was WrestleMania 20, I had turned 18. I had turned 18 like a week before that, I think. As a druid for Undertaker when he wrestled Kane at Square Garden.
Oh, shit. Wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You know who else was a druid was the Heartthrob. They were druids. Chad Wick, who I think he was like one of the dicks for a short period.
Wow.
He was one of the druids. But after that thing, I came back, and John Laurinaitis was like, I need to talk to you. And I was like, it's WrestleMania 20. Okay, what the hell do you want right now? He's like, I'm going to hire you. I need to hire you. And I was like, wait, for that you're going to hire me? He's like, yeah. I said, I've had a wrestling for the past 2 years, and I carried a flaming stick, and that's just got hired. I said, that's cool. I'll take it. He's like, how old are you? I said, I'm 18. He's like, or no, he goes, I want to hire you. Can you report to OVW April 1st? I said, can I finish school first? I said, let me graduate. I said, I graduate in June, and then I'll be there. He's like, okay, what school do you go to? And I was like, Dave. He's like, I've never heard of the college. I said, it's not a college, it's a high school. He's like, what? How old are you? I said, I'm 18. He's like, you've been working for me for 2 years. I said, yeah, I was 16 then. I said, what? He's like, oh, you can't do that. I said, look, if I was going to sue you, I would have sued you by now. I'm 18. He's like, when did you turn 18? I said, last week. He's like, damn. I was like, yeah. I said, hey, look at it as dedication. I don't look at it as anything bad. Look at it as dedication. He's like, yeah, I got the hell. So he's like, all right, I'll call you in June. He's like, I don't know if I'll hire you, though. I said, wait, why wouldn't you hire me? He's like, well, what made you think I would hire you? I said, because you just offered me a job in March. I said, so why wouldn't you offer me that job in June? He's like, just be patient. when would you get the call? So he didn't call me, but he called me at the end of May, and he extended my contract. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So then I graduated June 7th, and then I reported to OVW June 14th, and I moved there.
Hey, Felix,
awesome.
What am I doing in my life? What am I doing? That is, oh my God! How great of a story! I can't keep on like I say like how. What was your mom like? Like after like all this happening and.
She was just she said just keep your grades up and make sure you graduate. She's like, if that's what you want to do, then I support you. She's like, if you ever don't want to do it, then just don't do it. She said, just do what you want to do. That's all.
Did she realize what WWE was? Did she realize how big WWE was?
Yeah, I had watched it my whole life. I had the magazines, the toys, all that stuff. And she was like, she would watch it on TV, and she was like, oh, wow, that's pretty crazy. Like, I think she was still kind of like mind-boggling to her that my kid is on there, and everybody is watching my kid. Like, that's weird. I just know him as like this young kid who goes to school and plays sports. And I don't know. Now he's on TV wrestling. I don't know. So, yeah,
well, I want to ask you real quick. You got some upcoming shows coming up. We talked about the one in March. What's your upcoming shows that you got? Anything coming up in the next couple of weeks?
I have two for GW. I have one for In Your Face Wrestling in March, I believe. I have one for one in Oneida, New York, I think. I don't know the exact dates. I have them written down. But, yeah, they're coming up. The one by Albany, In Your Face Wrestling, I think Tommy Dreamer, Just Incredible, Rhino will be on that one. I know the one in New York, Jersey Championship will be Jerry Lawler, Mondo, SoCal Val. Those ones are great shows, too. Championship Wrestling, they have some great shows. They have really good shows. Very family crowd. It's fun. I don't do the indies to make a living now. I do it because I'm getting paid to hang out with my friends. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Great way to look at it, too.
Yeah, I was like, man, what's crazy, though? Of all these years, like, now I'm 27, I'm going to be 28. I've been wrestling 15 years. Like, that's been half of my life.
That's mind-boggling.
Do you, ever just, look back at what you've done? And, you're sitting on the couch and you're like, well, I wrestled Shawn Michaels.
No. I have friends that do. My mindset is if I look back at what I've done, then it's going to delay me from pushing myself further. After wrestling, all my accomplishments and stuff like that, like being on a magazine or an action figure or the WWE Tag Team title, just things like that. I don't keep them in my house. I give them to my parents. My mom, her house, my dad, his house. I just give them to them. I did some MMA grappling tournaments, and I won gold medals, and I won the Grappler's Championship belt. But I don't keep those things, I give them to my parents. Here, you guys hold on to them. If they're in my house and I look at them all the time, I feel like it's going to delay me from doing better, because I'm going to be like, hey, look, I did this, but then it's never going to be.
That's a great attitude to have.
I got to keep doing more, If I look at it, it's gonna delay me. So.
Well, let me ask you, Ken. Right now, I'm going to ask you point blank right now. If we were to have you come back sometime later in the year, would you be up for coming back for maybe a part 2?
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
Oh, yeah, we definitely, because I feel like we still got a lot to talk about, but we're going to have to go ahead and call it a night tonight, and because I know it's late in the where you're at. More than likely, I think you're on the East Coast. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. We're waiting for a big snowstorm, man. That's how we roll out here.
Oh, yeah, we've been watching over here. I'm in California, and Austin's in Louisiana, so he might be getting it quicker than I would, but I'm in California, so I don't get no snow.
Yeah, you'll be fine. But definitely, we'll have to definitely do a part 2, because now I'm doing the thing with my book. I'm working with autistic children, so I'm constantly giving back.
Yeah, we definitely want to do some more talking about your book, and definitely something I came across, and I want to inquire about too, is a story, I guess, of how you became an ordained minister.
Oh yeah, well, here's what happened. One of my friends, he's not big into religion, and he's always had a bad feeling from the church, but he was married. He asked me to do it, so I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'm not going to charge. I'm not doing it to make money. Now I do it. I do it for free. I do it to help people out, to cover their marriage costs. The economy is so down. People are so stranded, strapped for money. but they still want to be in love. They still want to love that significant other. So me doing it for free cuts the cost big time for them, and it, you know. And
cool
it's a party. I get to go party with all these people after every night. So.
There you go.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yes, and we've got to have you come back again for a part 2
no
for
doubt.
sure. It's been hilarious just kicking back and just talking about the crazy career you've had in just such a young age too. My goodness gracious.
Definitely, man. Yeah, in part 2, I'll tell you some crazy road stories too, some funny ones, some awesome pranks that I played.
Now, would you say something
something
better after WrestleMania, would you say, or towards the summertime? What would be more better for your schedule?
Whatever you guys think. I don't know.
I'll reach out to you and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to join us tonight.
Oh,
We've had a blast, and you've been a huge inspiration to Austin. He's a young man wanting to pursue the dream too. So,
I gotta get started. I'm late.
No, you're just never too late. Hey, if you ever quit, then you never fail. Realistically, you know.
Definitely.
So it doesn't matter how big or small you are. Just try.
I definitely will. I have to say, I was when I heard that you're like it's how early you started and how successful you were in pretty quick time. That's really great. It's like, you know, like how remarkable is that? Because not many people actually go out and do what they want to do, and you know, dream wise. And it just must be so great just to know that you've done a lot, and you're only 27, and you know, it's insane.
Hey man, anything's possible. You know, LeBron James didn't know how to shoot a free throw at one point in time. So it's just how much you put into it. Life is what you put into it. You know.
Definitely.
That's right. All right, man. Well, you know what? We'll go ahead and we'll say thank you again for joining us tonight on behalf of Austin and myself. You can follow Ken on his Twitter at Kenn Doane. And I believe you have a Facebook fan page for your book as well, Billy's Bully, I believe is what it's called.
Yes, sir. Facebook.com/Billy's Bully, and then on Twitter at Kenn Doane, KENNDOANE. And I just want to thank you guys. Thank you guys again for having me. That was great. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll look forward to doing part 2 very soon. Stay tuned for that, guys. And Ken, again, it was a joy. It was a total freaking. It was awesome tonight. I appreciate you taking time to tell us the stories. And yeah, we'll have you back soon enough. Definitely.
No problem, man. Anytime. Appreciate it. Stay safe.
All right. Have a good night, man.
Good night.
The one and only Kenn Doane, Kenny from the Spirit Squad. You know, I am just in awe. I don't really know what else to say, but you know what? It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, a lot of great laughs, and he has such a great outlook on life at such a young age and such a good sense of humor. You know, there was no way to have this any other way. You just have a good time. He made it very enjoyable, and I don't think we've even really touched the tip of the iceberg yet. That's why I said we've got to have him come back.
Like I was saying, that might have been the funnest interview that we've ever had. I'm not trying to like say anybody else wasn't, but that was so good. Like, what a story! This story is captivating because it's like you don't want to believe it, but it happened.
Exactly. I don't think I could have said it any better than that, and I hated the fact that time was running out for us, but.
Part 2, 3, 4,
we're going to have him come back on, and we're going to have him spend a little bit more time with us talking. He said he's got some road stories he'd be willing to tell and so forth. And yeah, well, just in this little bit of time that we've had, he told a lot. Let me just say, he told a lot. Wow, folks, what an amazing show tonight. Getting to speak to Ken about his amazing career from as young as 13 years of age, and I mean, it's just like he said, he was, or even 12 for that matter. He's only 27 and had already a 15-year career in professional wrestling, and he's still doing it. He is an inspiration. He is a lot of fun to talk to. Like I said, we're going to have him back for a part 2. It's a must. It's a must because I feel like I was telling Austin had to quietly disappear for a little bit and do his little troll things that he does or whatever. Anywho, yes, we haven't hit the tip of the iceberg with this young man, and it's going to be an honor to have him come back and join us and tell some more stories. Make sure you guys keep up with our website, pipebombradio.weebly.com. Check out the links that we have on there on our homepage, you know, which can actually take you over to our YouTube channel, and also with all of our other social media that we have. Check out our past shows. We've had some amazing guests, and it's just the beginning part of 2014, and we still got the whole year to go, if you can imagine that. Season 2 looks bright, and I think we're going to kick some butt this year. And keep on the lookout, folks, as I keep mentioning it from time to time on some of the shows. Saturday Night Slam will be making its return, hopefully this spring, maybe early part of the summer, but you'll hear it first from us. Other than that, on behalf of Austin, this is Felix for Pipebomb Radio saying keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody.